Hey there, I'm Tyler and welcome back to the channel. Today is a little bit of a sad day because we are taking apart the shop. Okay, so here is the plan. We got to get all of the lights down, the external electrical off of the ceiling, got to get the main dust collection duct out of the way, we got to clean the whole thing up, we got to cover everything with drop cloths, and then we're going to shoot white paint on the ceiling. Once that's done, we'll clean up, and then we're going to put RockSolid by Rust-Oleum on the floor for a beautiful showroom finish. It is not going to be fun at all, but if I have to do it, you guys need to come along for the ride. But when we are done, it is gonna look like a dime in here. I don't even know where to start, so I'm gonna start with the easy thing and take all of the dust collection off of the ceiling. I've gone and turned off the breakers for this middle section here, which is the middle 120 plugs and the two of the three 220 machines that I have in here. So these are dead right now. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the boxes down and pull this black wire down right here, which is actually a back feed from the table saw to the jointer, which is the latest edition of 220 here. So I just had a revelation that would have saved us a lot of time, but I'm not going to backtrack on the work that I've already done. And that is, I should have just popped the cover off of the lights, as you see right here, and taped off the driver, and then painted over that and the wire that's already on the ceiling, and put the actual light fixture back on, which, as you can see right here, these are the actual LED strip lights right there, and they just pop right off. So that would have saved a lot of time because I had to pull all the staples out, pull the wiring down, and now we're gonna have to put that back up again, measure, make sure they're in the right spot. But there's one light that I wanna move a little bit, but it would have been much easier to just go ahead and cover it up like I've done right here. So we'll do that on this last strip so we can get some lights back up real quick. But lessons learned, go with the flow. All right, so at this point, as you can see, we got a bunch of the lights down, and I got a drop cloth hung up on this side right there. Not actually too bad to put up, just putting tape up on the wall and then sliding the drop cloth, which are plastic ones, up underneath that. And we'll kind of drape them together here so that hopefully we can walk over them and shoot the white paint. The paint we're using for the shop ceiling is this Zinsser product from Rust-Oleum, and Rust-Oleum did send this to me, so big thank you to Rust-Oleum for providing the update to the shop for 2020. But we are going to spray it with my trusty old Graco X17 Pro, and it's probably going to take us about half an hour to get the paint on there. We'll let it sit, and I think we'll be able to get 2 coats on here with the 5-gallon pail. But let's get set up. We'll shoot some paint on there before heading out for lunch. Okay, we got a little bit of light, got our mask. Let's see what we can do. one. This is what we are going to use on the floor. Mind you, Rust-Oleum did send these products to me. You can find these at your local home center. We're going to start off by washing and degreasing everything. And then I haven't yet confirmed if I actually need to do the acid etching on here because there is a previous coat of paint, but I'm looking into that right now and I will let you guys know. Then we will go through and do any crack patching. And then we'll move on to prep for the RockSolid finish, and I am just going to do a gray without the specs, I think. And then we will follow that up with a clear top coat to make sure we have multiple layers on this floor so it lasts a long time. Because I'm going to be moving the machines out of the climate controlled shop, I'm going to be spraying this Teflon blaster on the surfaces so we don't get any rust. And just in case you are curious, there is no silicone in this product, so it won't mess with your wood finishes. Been using this for a while. Got it at the home center. Super handy. We're all cleaned up, ready for degreaser now, and because this is a painted surface, it calls out a 10-to-1, 10 cups of cleaner to 1 cup of water. I'm going to leave a little bit of water in this bucket and pour the gallon mixture into here, just kind of guesstimating where we're at, and then I'll use this to clean up the entire space. Here's that spot that we just touched up, and I went to bed last night thinking, how in the world am I going to properly rinse this? I obviously can't get a hose in here and spray this thing down. And it hit me when I was talking to the wife last night. We'll scrub it up, we'll bring in water in 5-gallon buckets like you see right there, and then we'll use a shop vac, wet dry shop vac, to suck up that water. Should work out perfect. So we are all degreased and cleaned up, and I did hear back from my friends at Rust-Oleum that we do not have to do an etching if there's a previous coat. But they have a concrete and garage primer that is meant to go over previous coats before doing the RockSolid or their epoxy top coat. So I'm gonna wait for some of that to come in. But in the meantime, you can see we have a couple of cracks running through the concrete in the shop. To fix that, we're gonna be using Rust-Oleum's concrete and patch repair. It is a 2-part epoxy. You mix this with all of that, mix it up to a nice gray, and then you can fill in the cracks in your concrete. It's like Play-Doh. They do say to only mix up what you can use in half an hour, so I hope I didn't bite off more than I can chew here. We have got our garage and interior floor primer in, which is what we want to use over a previously coated surface. We got our crack patch in, and what we're going to do is hand brush around the edge, and then we're going to use a roller on the stick to roll the floor about 4-foot sections at a time. The big requirements that I can see on here is that we are above 40, we're at 60 right now, and that we do the top coat somewhere between 6 and 48 hours after, which we should be able to do the next coat in about 24. So let's get rolling. Unlike the primer, which came in your typical paint can, the RockSolid epoxy coat and the clear coat come in these two-part bags, which you pop the seam between and mix thoroughly for a few minutes. Once you have it all mixed up, you can nip off a corner and then pour it directly on the floor and continue to roll out. The RockSolid was very, very sticky and took quite a bit of time per 4-foot section to roll out evenly. Because I did not want to disassemble my assembly table or table saw to get them out of the shop, I had to work from one side of the shop towards the door over multiple days. Once I got the RockSolid gray epoxy on, I followed that up with a clear coat over the top for a glossy showroom shine. Now this stuff is slippery, so there is a dissolvable type of sand that you spread over to give yourself a little bit of traction. Well, look at that white ceiling and that beautiful gray floor. Actually, the next project is underway, as you can see behind me. It looks great. Actually, everybody that has come in here has asked me if they can walk on the floor because it looks wet, but that is just that glossy clear coat shine as the top coat, which looks great. The only downside that I can see is the epoxy being a liquid. It self-levels to a certain degree. And the floor, the concrete, is not perfectly smooth. It has that raised texture when you drag a broom through, like if you're laying down a sidewalk, so you have some grippy texture on there. And as you can see right here, those ridges showed through the epoxy after it leveled out before it cured. Because it looks just fantastic from up here, I didn't have enough material and I didn't have enough time. We were going to leave that floor as is, but I do gotta say, it looks pretty fantastic. And I can attest that stuff is rock solid, living up to its name, and we put a clear coat on top of that, so we have a lot of protection on this floor. Besides the ceiling and the floor, I did move the table saw and the bandsaw 6 inches to that side of the shop, which allows me to get a full 8-foot section of lumber behind the bandsaw, which I was not able to do before. I had to do a little bit of modification to the dust collection to do that, but that is all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found something useful. I'm DIYTyler, and you guys have a good one.